All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? This will probably be the most time I'm the most, well, one of the most times I want to start doing this more often, where I am just more vulnerable, just in a sense of just sharing some insights and wisdom, just on things that I really believe need to be kind of brought to the light in a sense. And I really hope that you gain um, just a different perspective on this because, like, seriously, I'm going to try to talk as slow as I can because I have a lot to say. Um, and if you guys put in the comments down below if this stuff was and is helpful to you, um, yeah, let me know, and then I can kind of pump out more of this. And I'm just start from back at COVID. Like, I'll just say that's when my wife said she was pregnant. And for those of you who don't know, well, well, she ended up giving birth to the coolest kid in the world. And I know every parent says that about their child, but man, this kid is such a light to us and to his grandparents, to our family. Spit an image of me, so yeah, he's my baby. And, and he's so fun and funny to be around. So that's always a good thing when your kid has a sense of humor early on. But yeah, he was born at the best time in history. November 2020. Yeah, what a famous year. He and every other kid who was born that year. Um, and yeah, and since then I had been digging into things that to do for a career, and watching him grow. Just at man from holding him to just bottle feeding him, and then watching him roll, and then crawl, and then walk, and then now I don't even know if he know how to walk. Now he just runs everywhere. But it's funny. It's like the force. It's almost like the Forrest Gump run. He's like doom 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 doom, and then when he runs around the corner, he's like boom 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 boom. Like it's only 90-degree turns. There are no just like, I guess, sphere type of terms. I don't know if that's correct or not to say, but anyway, I'm sure you know where I'm getting at. But there's so much humor involved in just everything from changing him to just him spitting up on you to clothing to everything. And I love everything about being a dad. And I didn't realize that up until recently, whenever my amazing wife, like, just gave birth to our second kiddo. And I'm going to touch on this a little bit later because she had a lot of difficulties just with this pregnancy. And that really helped. Excuse me. But that really helped a lot. Just me personally, just put a lot of things in perspective. Um, because I realized that I was trying so hard to start up a business to help. I wanted to help dads because that's what my son showed me. I'm like, dude, we really need better father figures, more consistent father figures. Um, because I don't care what anybody says, other than a relationship with God. Like, we need more dads, solid dads, to be the spiritual leader and a father, not a friend or not just somebody who shows up from time to time, but a present father to spend time with their child. Um, and I dare you just to go to, I mean, if you want to, um, if you can prove me wrong by going to a prison and just ask how many of those inmates did not have a present father figure in their lives, I guarantee you probably 80+% will raise their hand, or at least a loving father. And it's so wild how much being a dad can impact generations. So your actions, um, your actions matter, and so do your choices that you make with your words. Words can, man, words caused a lot of pain for me growing up. And I moved around a lot just due to a lot of family complications. So it was really difficult for me to understand how um, how deep relationships are, because I just knew, even as a young kid, being a kid, thinking this, I'm like, well, I'm not going to treat this friendship any different. I mean, I'd still play with my friends, but I would I would always have it in my head as like a 8, 9, or 10-year-old that, well, I'm just gonna, blow through this area and probably never see this kid I'm playing with again. So, um, I would pretty much play with every kid on the block, and then, I know as I moved from that area, at the time I was staying with my biological mother, and at the time I moved back to Tennessee, and this was in Virginia, where she was, but I moved away from my biological mother, um, in with my aunt, and I mean, I consider them both of my mothers. I mean, they did what they could, to help me, grow up, but, once again, with a lot of family complications, moving back and forth and dealing with me as a kid, trying to figure out, I guess, my place, in the world, because I had such a big imagination at a young age, but I was very confused, just emotionally and psychologically. Because moving around a lot, it can really screw with you, psychologically. Because I was really awkward because I didn't know how to really act normal, like, around other kids, because I never stayed anywhere long enough to adapt to it, but I could adapt quickly, but I wasn't very consistent. I would jump around from, I guess, all the different type of cultures, that I lived in. Well, cultures, I mean, like, from living in a city to an urban area to living in a small town in the country, just things like that. Um, but yeah, when I would move in with my aunt, I know my biological mother, she would call and she would just say how dead basically like the neighborhood was since I left. And it's very interesting how you never notice or know this stuff until somebody else tells you. And And just at a young age, I've just always loved being around people. Um, and and gosh, for the last, I think, yeah, since college, when was this? 2012. Yeah, I got a job, and I started working with kids, and I really enjoyed it. Like, just kids are, man. I like a lot of kids, but I'll be honest, I don't like all kids because some are just so difficult to deal with. If I wouldn't mind spending, like, the more, like, one-on-one time with them, because I know some kids, like, they just require more attention than others. I don't mind giving it if I wasn't watching, like, 20 kids at a time, but then you get those kids that just, you can't forget them because they're funny, they listen well, and they're just all around great, just to be around, and they will be leaders one of these days. Um, and that I don't know a lot about those kids' histories, but it just makes me think just, the family dynamic and kinda what it looks like nowadays, and I didn't really see, like, I didn't it was very inconsistent, for me, once again, um, as a child, so actually seeing loving families come to pick up their kids, that was so encouraging for me, and I'll be honest, some days that's the one thing that actually kept me, working that job for the years that I did. But then I moved on, but I still work with kids, and I was hired on, to coach gymnastics at a gymnastic gym here in Middle Tennessee, and, oh my gosh, it is the boss, the owner, like, he's one of the greatest guys, like, honestly, and I'm not just saying that. So so if you're watching this, and you know who I'm talking about, um, really, like, and I'll be 100% honest, he is so well educated, he loves the Lord, and it shows in his actions and how he treats his employees. I've I'll be honest, I don't even know how many jobs I've worked since I was, in high school. Like, I've always bounced around from job to job trying to find my purpose and kind of, and what I mean by that is just some things that I am really good at, that I am passionate about, that I can thrive in, and it wasn't until working at the gymnastics gym when I realized, I'm like, "Man, now this is the environment that I mean, it does smell like hot, sweaty feet, but I mean, you get used to that after a while, and then you have so much fun, there, but you can feel the love and the energy and the atmosphere when going into that gym, and for years I did that, then COVID happened, my wife said she was pregnant, and let's be honest, kids are gross, so I didn't wanna get a cold or anything that could affect, my wife's pregnancy, um but that then was a big thing that pushed me, to kind of figure out what I'll be good at because I've been good with kids, and it wasn't until having my own that really flipped my perspective because I liked kids, but now I let's see, yeah, back in June of this year or of last year, 2022, I took about a 2-year gap, or I mean a 2-year, I guess a 2-year leave from the gymnastics job, and when I was able to go back in June, that's whenever I'm like, "Man, I miss being around these kids," and it's so crazy. Well, I can't stop saying it, but after being a dad, having your own child, man, I just view kids in a different perspective, kind of like, now from a parent's point of view, and I'm like, man, our youth is just so what word am I looking for? They're just so unrecognized for all their gifts, talents, and abilities, and the skills these kids have, and their creativity they have, and it's just not something that's highly praised, and I really think it should be. Not I think, I know it should be. Um, I recently, started working back in the school system, so I set up gymnastics equipment in schools around here in Middle Tennessee, and if you're a teacher watching this, um, give the gym a call. It's ETC Gymnastics. I don't have a problem putting it out there because it's man, I know I can't stop ranting about this enough, but, about that gym enough, but it really is this week, the school I was in, and even last week, man, they are just great schools, and it's so incredible, um, the overall sense of, I guess, happiness and joy that these kids have from doing what some consider to be easy tasks, but to them, it's like breaking, earth-shattering things, and showing what these kids can do, even if it's walking on a balance beam or swinging around a bar, and that's the area that I'm in. Um, I'll have to be at the bar, well, not have to, I just choose to be at the bar because for a lot of kids, it's one of those things. I'm like, "Now hold on to the bar and don't let go." And some of the kids, like, they'll let go, so, yeah, you have to be really quick to catch them so they don't flip over and get hurt. Um, but it's very encouraging when some of these kids, it'll be the first time they've ever probably even held on to a bar, and I'm like, "I can't do this," and, then I'll just say, "You'd be surprised in what you can do when you set your mind to it." That sounds like a cliche to so many, but to kids, when they hear, um, I guess, an expert or a fatherly figure or a grown-up, just telling them that, I don't know, sometimes it flips a switch for them. I mean, some kids, they do, like, and I understand because naturally it's just terrifying. Your body's gonna wanna catch yourself instead of hold on to something as you flip around it. So, it is really hard, to do that at first, but all you have to do is modify it. And even in general, like, we can just modify some actions that we do in our own lives to make our lives much easier. And these kids, like, I'll just say, "Look, you can just start, you don't have to go around the bar, but just push yourself up over the bar and then hold it for 3 seconds, and then we can work our way to eventually to where you start leaning further and further and further until they'll eventually wanna swing around it." And it is so incredible, the sense of just I don't wanna use happiness or joy again because I totally did, but just by encouraging kids to do that, but this sense of just checking it off that they accomplished something that big in their life after they actually go all the way around the bar is just so amazing. And man, and it was honestly, I think what really pushed it for me to want to work with the youth. And actually, I want to start something. I'm trying to figure out what that is, but I think it's going to be recreation based, and it will be in the future sometime. But I wanna create a sort of recreation-based camp, because something that I've noticed with a lot of these kids, I would love to include some types of I want there to be courses, and these courses will be strategically designed to help these kids with the mental toughness they need, and, like, I wanna have an amazing team, and there's oh, man, I have so many I mean, I've been playing around with this idea for probably, like, a year and a half, and this is kind of what enforced it by me getting back into schools. So for you dads or even moms, if you're watching this, um, you never know sometimes you think you know what you know everything, and you'd be surprised in the little things you do and the opportunities that they can lead to. Because even though this is something little, me going to these schools and teaching semi like the same thing to each class. I mean, I will have to modify it sometime depending on the grade level, but it's still teaching them the same things. It's just gymnastics, the basics 101 stuff. But you can just yeah, just modify your lives as well and modify it to help raise your children. Man, I can just tell some of these kids like have some of them have some pretty tricky home lives. Just to put it nicely. And it's hard seeing that, but it's but I can you can only do so much if you don't actually know their story because it's very very fast paced. They go to these stations around the gym and play and use the equipment that I and the coaches set up there. Um, but I don't know. It's very cool. Um, yeah, I know I got off on that big tangent, but yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. And I want to go back to just my wife, and like this also encourage it as well. Um, so I now have a baby girl. She was born early. And that's as far as I'm going to say on that. Like due to social media, there are just a lot of people who have a lot of silly opinions, to put it nice. I know they're trying to probably help, but it's not really helpful. It's just with anxiety and stuff like that. So yeah, some people though act like they know more than the doctors. Which, on that note, I love doing research. I love, love, love it. So even though a doctor gives me insight and opinion, I mean, I'll definitely like respect that. But sometimes, it's still healthy and smart to do your own research, because every body is different. So, and in certain schools that doctors go to, they push certain, I guess, philosophies and teachings. Um, and what I mean by that is, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but it is what it is. Um, but we don't need pills. But I'm not anti-vaccination or anti-medicine, pills, whatever, to fix everything. Like naturally, like the way God designed our body, we can do it naturally. And and for a recent example, a lot of people are going to think this is gross, but I'm like, well, shoot, dang, if it helps, I'm gonna do it, and it could save me money. But I'm when I have colds, they're normally really bad, and I just took a shot of apple cider vinegar. I mean, by shot, it was like a capful. Yeah, swallowed it. It's amazing all the benefits that can have. When before then, I've been struggling. It's probably been about a month with a cough. Um, it was gradual, but then I guess 3 weeks ago, my wife told me to take some Mucinex, and I'm like, yeah, why not? And 2 weeks, my cough seemed to get worse, worse and worse. Yesterday, I took my first ever cap full of apple cider vinegar, didn't cough at all throughout the night, and I haven't coughed all day. I took, like, another drink this morning, but yeah, like, you can even if you don't like that, I don't know how well the gummies work, but just try the gummies. Um, or you can make a big smoothie, or just sneak it in your drink, sneak it in your spouse's drink, that'd be pretty funny. Just make sure you record their reactions and send it to me. I'm just kidding. I don't wanna be a part of that. But, it's so cool, just look up natural things, and I would recommend going to a website, drjoshaxe.com. He is a genius when it comes to, um, just healing your body in the most natural way possible. He has incredible supplements and all sorts of things and references, even how to make natural sunscreen. Natural freaking sunscreen. I mean, it's pretty cool, that is a thing. I mean, of course, it's a thing, but he pretty much has everything under the sun on his website, so you don't have to do any digging through Google or DuckDuckGo. I'd highly recommend using DuckDuckGo instead of Google. Um, yeah, so it's cool that's all in one area. And then when you're looking up one thing, let's just say you want to learn how to bake a pie, it'll give you several different other options based off of what you're searching for, almost like a search engine. And then you can learn how to make a different kind of pie or what each ingredients. Oh, and he does say that as well, what each ingredient does for you, and what it does to your body. So it has the pros and the cons and the science to back it up, and I'll even reference the links on his on the website. So that's really really cool. Um, but yeah, something else I wanted to bring up is I'm trying to figure out how to segue it, but after having a daughter, and then I have a goddaughter. Well, I have goddaughters as well, and man, they're so cool. They are growing so fast. And it's man, there are going to be some tough girls, because they have a tough mama and a tough daddy. But that just I don't know, seeing them and then just grow has been so cool. And then their dad was just such. I mean, unfortunately, their dad passed away. I think about a few years ago now. But the oldest, man, she is so resilient. She is such a tough girl. She's a fighter. Well, not physically. I mean, she knows how to protect herself, but just emotionally, um, she is so tough. And just to be uh, just to be the positive role model and example for her younger sister. And it's wild how stuff like that happens through so much through pain. But we were never promised, to live forever. Um, and if you have been, let me know what your secret is. But but sometimes what we learn from I'm just going to use a dad for example. What you learn from your dad, from you, if you're a dad and you're watching this, is an incredible legacy that will carry on even when you're not in the picture anymore. Because you need to start looking at life daily like that. And yeah, anyway, so she's so tough, and it just made me think, now after having my own daughter who is so tiny, like she can't even walk. Um, just where this world is going, and with women, and and just women try to do so many things to get attention from other men, which I'll be honest, like they don't need it. Like if the guy genuinely cares for you, then he'll listen to you instead of because man, just so many men want to treat women like an item instead of a person, like an individual. And it's just it's a horrible, sick world, and a lot of girls, a lot of boys don't even know this. Know how to really treat a woman until like later in life, or I mean, if they're ever mature enough to want to learn that. Um, and then women grow up in like a society, or like a culture that just says so many things about what a woman is, and I'm like, look at what Jesus says what a woman is. Seriously, I mean, the Bible is very black and white, and it's wild. And yeah, you're probably like, oh, he's a Bible pusher. I'm like, well, I wasn't always a Christian. I'll let you know that. In my life, I tried other religions before I became a Christian, and it's so amazing what Jesus had done for me because I started implementing the teachings of Jesus in my life. Once again, I was not a Christian, but I wanted to see if it would help. And yes, it did. Because I used to be in into drinking and drugging and trying to numb all this pain that I had from growing up. And it was so freaking wild. And in June 2009, I was baptized. I became a Christian. And yeah, life got easier for me. All right, see you guys. I'm just kidding. But life ended up getting harder for me just in the sense I had like a new mindset because now being a Christian I had to live my life differently. So I could no longer do the things that I used to do. And yeah, I mean I struggled. Anybody who tells you that they don't struggle, stay away from them. They are lying, and sometimes they'll push their struggles onto you. And they'll start manipulating. Anyway, I know, don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Um, yeah, and it made me view women differently because I would just say like I was a pretty promiscuous type of man before I became a Christian, and then after that, I'm like, well, I'm not going to live that lifestyle. That is not me. That is not how God created men to be, and we are to love one another and respect one another, and yeah, and the list kind of goes on. I mean, Jesus even gives us an example of what love is in there. See if you can exchange the word love and put your name in there. And man, dude, is so sorry if you actually hear me scratching my eye, but it's one of those itches that just needs to happen. but but yeah, it can be very what word am I looking for? I know it starts with a C. But it can really help hold you accountable on what you need to focus on in regards to loving others and love Jesus. These are the two most importance he gave these Pharisees, or was it Sadducees? One or the other. Um, yeah, love God and love people. Love God, love people. And that's definitely why I'm excited, and it's gonna be difficult, especially where things are going in our world, and by that, it's just for in America, like, it's a very selfish nation, um, just where things are going, and unfortunately, it's not gonna get any better, and for those of you who think it is, it's not until Jesus returns, but what we need to do, we just need to teach our children how to be strong Christians. And how to not let the little things affect them so bad, because people nowadays, they'll let anxiety ruin their lives. Like, they'll have severe social anxiety that is so bad they can't even work, like, a day job. Like, they have to do a night job and whatever, and if you do night shift, no worries, but we're actually not really designed, and I learned this in college, like, to work, like, a third shift job. Like, it's good. We need the vitamin D, like, just during the day and to sleep at night. That's why God created day and night. But anyway, um, yeah, back to my daughter, like, I can't wait till she gets older. I'm gonna train up her, like, I have a buddy, well, a couple friends who are, one law enforcement, ex-military, and I can't wait. Like, we're all gonna train because our kids, yeah, will be around the same age, so I think that'll be fantastic, and not gonna be training to be bullies, but in case anything ever happens, I'd rather them have the knowledge and know how to use it than not, and then, the worst thing can happen, so, and at least in my book. But yeah, we just and also too, it's amazing what martial arts can do when it involves the confidence of your child and the protection, so the kid will know how to protect themselves. Um, at least long enough that they can put somebody down, then flee, like not beat the crap out of somebody and make an example. Like, you just want to put them down and get out of there. Just stuff like that. But it's cool, like, because I've worked with not worked, but I used to be part of groups, and man, a lot of those people, they had martial arts backgrounds, and it's so amazing, man, how consistent, how focused, how they're very systematic in getting things done. And they're just great to talk to. Like, but it's cool because there's a lot of discipline involved in that. And speaking of discipline, we need more discipline for ourselves. Like, so do I have? Yeah, here it is. So we don't need any of this as much as we have it. Like, there's just too many people just wasting time on their cell phones. They're not really doing much. I'll tell you, you were created to do more than just bury your face in hours and hours of social media. Get out there and enjoy life. Life is too short. And show that to your kids. Show that your kids can have fun playing outside. I mean, shoot, my son has pretty much any toy that a 2-year-old can want, and yet he'll still go outside and play with one stick and like one or two rocks. I mean, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what would. Like, and he'll keep on going back to that, and then he's so fascinated with everything. It's very humbling just being present with your kid. Get off your phone if you're with your child, because those times will come and go. And plus, when you're more present, in general, time slows down. It really does. You're able to, in that moment, you're so focused in the moment, you're really enjoying it, and you get to deal with all the, I guess, all the elements and the feelings, the smells, the physical aspect of moving around with your children. Like, it's just so cool how all your senses kind of are involved, and you literally get to slow down time, and it's really really neat. It's an amazing gift from God. Another one. You're welcome. But I'll just follow him around the yard, and he'll pick up like the same rock, or maybe the same stick, a leaf, um, bark. I mean, gosh, you name it, he's probably picked it up. Bugs, and he'll look at it with the most fascinated look, and it's such an amazing thing to see. And whatever happened to us, being fascinated every day because it's a new, fresh day. We need to start being more open minded daily when we wake up. So you don't need to start getting on your cell phone and doing stuff like that because that can be dangerous. The first 20 minutes of your day is literally going to set the rest of your day, like mentally. So you don't want to get off your phone. I mean, if you use your phone for an alarm, just turn it off and then just walk out of the room immediately. And if that's too hard for you, leave your phone out of your room, go to Dollar General, Family Tree if they have one, and just pick up like a little digital clock. I mean, you can even use like I guess a timer. Um, well, I'm thinking like a cooking timer. Maybe those would be cheaper, but I don't know. So yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, and I wanted to say this earlier. Hold on. I think the thought left me. Yeah, it was definitely in regards to youth. Um, but on that, just and I brought up why I wanted my daughter and son, why I want them to be able to protect themselves, but it's in regards to bullying. Last week, man, it was horrible. A girl, it was a teenager, I think she was 14. She ended up committing suicide because these girls bullied her, and then I think they put it up on social media or something like that. And then 2 days later, yes, she killed herself. And this is the kind of world we live in, where I know types of bullying have been going on for ages and ages and ages, but now with social media, like that stuff stays out there. Like you can't just get rid of it and tell somebody to stop telling these lies because this happened in New Jersey. I am here in Middle Tennessee, and that was all within like the same day. So word travels fast, and once it's online, online. And for one, I instantly felt so bad for those girls who did that to her because I'm like, their life is so horrible that they have to take it out on somebody else. I mean, only people who are the lowest of the low do stuff like that. Like, that's why I'm not a big fan of bullies because I dealt with a lot of bullying, and especially in high school. I mean, I'm not going to give any names, but it was it was just somebody I dealt with, and man, he was so difficult. I mean, I hope he's doing well now, and hopefully he's grown up a lot since then. Um, but yeah, there were several, and man, so many times, and it's stinky. Like you just can't escape it. There are just so many forms of bullying. Um, but that's why it is so important to be very cunning and wise with your words. Um, that's like when you're smart, you can like diffuse certain situations. You can even bring humor to certain situations. And if you're to say certain things, you can have other people look your direction. So if the bully is being a jerk or something like that, just call them out on it. And some people don't like that. They'll just be like, "Oh, well, blah 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 blah. Let's meet and fight after school." I'm like, "Well, we don't have the issue after school. We have the issue now." And a lot of time they'll be like, "No, no thanks." I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing that. That's just how I used to be. Um, maybe still am. Not gonna lie, but yeah, we just need to really start choosing our words wisely and how we use them. So don't be a verbal or physical punching bag for people. And we need to just, man, even if you're not a Christian, you don't have to be a Christian to, love your child as much as you do. Like, just be an example and be there for your child. Just tell them how much they are valued. And I know God loves them beyond measure, beyond our own perspective of life itself. Like, He knew your kid before they were even put together in your wife's, or if you're the wife, in your womb. Like, that's mind blowing. He knows your beginning and your end. So I don't know, everybody has a purpose. You are born with a purpose and for a purpose. Don't forget that. It's amazing the gifts that you personally have that this world needs. This world, there are literal people dying because of things you have that they need. And God gave you those skills and abilities to help others. But sometimes we don't know that until it's too late. Whether like, that season in our life is gone, or we're physically not able to talk or walk or move around to show or use those gifts that we once had. I mean, the gifts pretty much will stay with you, but maybe you can teach others how to use their gifts, things like that. But in general, it's just so wild, the little things we take for granted. I mean, you can know a crap ton about history, But if all you do is play video games, like, that's not really getting history out there. However, there are ways, especially with social media, or you can call up some schools if you wanna be a teacher and help kids learn history. Because a lot of the time, history is just being demolished nowadays. It is not. They're reconstructing history, like the government and stuff like that. So, and yeah, you can say that I'm wrong, but you know, what does Ben Shapiro say? The facts don't care about your feelings. Like but this has been happening for such a long, long time, and it stinks. So I don't know. Maybe one day we'll all grow up and be a Toys R Us kid. Oh man, I miss Toys R Us. Anyway, I think that's gonna end this live. If you found value in it, just say that, hey, that was a great video down below, and maybe some other things that I can cover because I just hopped on, just wanting to kind of share my heart, my feelings, and also just once again, just some wisdom and things that I have learned, and I really believe need to be brought up. But yeah, maybe you can send this to somebody who might find value in it as well, or who just needs to hear it. But anyway, everybody, I'll see you next time. Just got to figure out how it ends.